Hey guys, welcome to Hip Hughes History. We're continuing with the Constitution for Dummies series, taking a look at the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights because we have run out of articles. So let's take a look at the original language, a few ways that you can remember them, and some historical context of that language throughout American history in like 5 minutes. So students, lifelong learners, cray-cray on the internet, start your engines. That's the engines of learning. Here we go, video. So even before we approach the Bill of Rights and start looking at language, I want to talk about the idea of selective incorporation. It's really important to understand, guys, that the Bill of Rights was written for the federal government, federal law, federal action. The states, in a sense, have their own state constitutions. So it's not going to be until after the 14th Amendment, and there's language in the 14th Amendment, you can click right there and watch my 14th Amendment video, that basically says that the states have to succumb to the Bill of Rights concepts of equal protection and due process. And then, throughout the 20th century, the court starts selectively incorporating some of the Bill of Rights to the states.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peacefully assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
So you can see the language is really clear. There's only 44 words in there, guys. And if we look at the very beginning of the First Amendment, we can see the Establishment Clause. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. And that language becomes quite interpretable. So what the Supreme Court has done is it's begun to apply, starting in the 1920s, the Bill of Rights to state law. And this blossoms in the Establishment Clause in a case, the Everson decision in 1942. Maybe it's 1947. But either way, what the court basically did was really using some letters that Thomas Jefferson had written to a Baptist association, I believe in Massachusetts, like in 1802, 1803, where he was asked a question about why, as president, he wasn't like proclaiming religious days and holidays. And he responded with basically the language where we hear church, a wall between church and state. That was the language in the letter that Jefferson used. So the court used that letter in a sense to rationalize the intention of the Establishment Clause. So while some strict interpretationalists might say an establishment of religion means just that, like in 1830 in Massachusetts, when Massachusetts was like officially a congregationalist, established religious state, to the idea of, can I pass a law saying that we're going to say a prayer, in school? So loose interpretationalists have used the Establishment Clause intention of Jefferson and this wall between church and state to build it up pretty high. So the Free Exercise Clause, guys, basically is freedom of religion. And the court has basically adopted in kind of deciding what the language means of a strict scrutiny test. So if we're going to take away your freedom of religion, your free exercise of religion, we better have a really good reason. Like you belong to the Church of Meth. I don't think that's going to pass the mustard. I think that the strict scrutiny test would include you. You're not allowed to do that. So next is free speech, guys. Congress shall make no law abridging free speech. There's always going to be a balancing act, but there's tons of different areas of study in this, whether you're talking about student free speech or free speech during war, commercial free speech, is flag burning free speech, is obscenity free speech. There's so much interesting stuff to take a look at. You certainly probably should do that. But that would be your freedom of speech. We then have, or of the press, abridging the press rights. And of course, this really goes to the idea of prior restraint. Can the federal government stop you from printing something because they deem it to be hazardous or a security risk? And that's going to be a balancing act as well. Take a look at New York Times versus the United States, a famous case dealing with the Pentagon Papers, and the idea of whether we had the right to know of whether the government was lying to us or whether that was going to violate national security. You can look at the WikiLeaks case today, or what Snowden is doing with information from the NSA. too hot to handle. There's tons in there to do. You also are going to have the right of the people to peacefully assemble. This is right of assembly. This also goes to the idea of right of association. What if you join the Communist Party in the 1950s? Are you going to have the right to assemble? What if you want to get 1,000 friends to go downtown and have a march in front of city halls to free the puppy dogs? Do you need a petition? Lots of cool and interesting stuff looking at that. And then finally, not to abridge the right of petitioning the government for a redress of grievances. Your ability as a citizen to lobby your government, to tell the government through protest or letter writing or raising money or however it might be, to address your grievances, your problems from the government. So there you go, guys. 44 words, you can do that. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of the speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peacefully assemble and petition their government for a redress of grievances. Boom, 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 boom. Where attention goes, energy flows. Make sure you check out other videos down below in the descriptions. We have other channels you should be checking out, and check us out on the Twitters @HitHughes. There you go, guys. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. Yay for learning.
The First Amendments of the Constitution are called the Bill of Rights.
Hello, my name is James Madison, and yes, I cut my own hair. I also wrote the Bill of Rights, a list of freedoms that belong to every American citizen. For over 200 years, these rights have protected us from being mistreated by our government. But what if we didn't have the Bill of Rights? What would it be like to live in a country where the common man wasn't protected?
Nadia, Miss Hernandez.
Tonight, I want everyone to read chapter through chapter.
Now do the president.
My fellow Americans, I'm 100 years old and I look like a rotten potato. Hey, what's going on here? You're not doing an impression of me, are you?
No, sir. Well, sort of. We were just having fun, sir.
Fun, huh? You think imitating the president is fun?
Yes?
Well, let me show you what I think is fun.
Was it something I said?
Not protected.
I am sick to death of these outrageous taxes. How are we expected to support our families when they pay us in peanuts?
I can't stop eating my money.
I say we visit the White House and give them a piece of our mind.
Yeah!
What seems to be the problem here? We're marching on the White House to protest the way the government treats us.
Yeah!
Protest, huh? Well, the White House is a long way from here.
But I can see it right there.
Tell you what, how about you all hop in and I'll drive you to the front door.
Okay. Hey!
Not protected.
For solving this impossible math problem, we find you guilty of being a witch and hereby sentence you to death.
No, please, that's my daughter.
Well, then I'm sure you're aware your daughter is a witch.
She is not a witch. Our family doesn't believe in witchcraft. We believe that if a person tries hard enough, they can learn anything they want, even this math problem.
Very interesting, sir. They're both witches.
Not protected.
Wow, pretty scary stuff. But luckily, in America, we have the First Amendment, which gives us the freedom to speak our minds, form a protest, and choose what we want to believe in. Next, we're going to look at the Second Amendment to the Constitution, the right to bear arms. Oh dear.